What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Take Time Out, episode number 43. We got a special guest this week, Seth, in the Columbus
So
area. OHIO, he's right here. He's right here with us. Yeah, we're bringing in Seth for the Super Bowl, man. It's a good time to be alive. The boys are here. We're ready to give you some insight, but mostly today we're going to give you some best bets, some props. You know, it's prop season. This is where all the casual bettors come out the woodworks, betting on Gatorade colors and how long the national anthem's going to be. We can't bet on that here in Ohio, so I didn't put any of that down. But we're each going to give out some of our favorite props, not a list order, but just however many we feel. So I'll start with a prop because I'm feeling frisky. So my first prop would probably be Mahomes and Purdy to combine for 50 plus rush yards. That's sitting there at plus 100. Kyler, we were talking before the pod. You might like the sound of that one. I don't know because you were thinking of Purdy's just over on his rush yards to begin with.
I like the Purdy rush yards.
Yeah, you don't like the 50 plus combined.
The only thing that concerns me about Patrick Mahomes is I don't know. I think he would take 4 to 5 rushes to get 20 yards alone.
Right.
So I think Purdy, after what we've seen last week, especially playing against the Ravens, that second half with his rushing game, I would love to see some of that more in the Super Bowl. And I think that's going to be something that's going to happen a lot with the way this Chiefs secondary is going to be playing. I think that's something that's going to be – his line's only set at 12.5 yards for the whole game. That's a lock by itself. But 50 yards combined, I mean, it's not – I don't hate it.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a good prop.
Yeah, to back up myself a little bit, Purdy against good defenses, I mean, it's not a real stat, but I kind of counted it up. And against good defenses, he has had 5 carries a game, basically. So in the playoffs, that's shown when good defenses collapse on him. He usually doesn't figure out until the second half, but he scrambles a little bit. And Mahomes against good defenses always seems to, like, you see twinkle toes out there running for a couple extra yards.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's my first prop. Who's next?
you want to take it, Nick?
Yeah, I'll go. So I think judging by how this game is going to go, I think the Niners are really going to try to control the game, and I would not be surprised, and I even kind of predict that they're going to get up an early lead on KC. So I'm thinking Christian McCaffrey over 19. I believe it's 18 and a half, actually. Rushing attempts throughout the game. I just think they're going to run the ball a lot. Like I said, they're going to be up. So, I mean, I just feel like KC's going to have to come back.
Okay.
I'm going to take a kind of different route for everybody and talk about more of the Super Bowl MVP. Going to read off some lines, why I like certain players. First and foremost, we've seen that 32 times Super Bowl MVPs have won. It's been a quarterback. And so if you think the 49ers are going to win or you think the Chiefs are going to win, you might as well just take their quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP. It's better value than what you're getting at the money line. But if you want to get a little more friskier, I think some great value for players is a guy like Deebo Samuel. So wide receivers have won the Super Bowl MVP 9 times. And Deebo's a guy that can get it done in the run game as well as the passing game. And he's also been doing kick returns. So a couple touchdowns right there. And, you know, he's right in the running if the 49ers do pull off the win. And also just don't sleep on these defensive positions. I know when the Seahawks won it against the Broncos, I think it's KJ Wright.
Malcolm Smith, I think.
Yeah. So, like, you know, if a guy like Nick Bosa at plus 10,000 odds gets a strip sack touchdown, I mean, and it's a big play of the game, they're going to reward people like that. So just keep those in mind when you guys are placing these bets and the history among them, and good luck.
I want to hear some inside scoop from our gamble addiction, Seth, over here.
Yeah, I gamble a lot. I would say probably my favorite bet would be Mahomes to score a touchdown, a rushing touchdown,
Okay.
because
I like that.
last time they played in the Super Bowl in 2020, he scored a rushing touchdown. Had the worst beat of our lives because we had him to score 2 touchdowns. We didn't know it. We thought it could be passing. This was back when we were betting overseas. And we thought it could just be a passing and a running. And no, hell no, it can't. So that was fucked up. Uh,
Mistakes were made.
but sneaky plus 2,200 Mahomes to score first touchdown. You know, they get down in the red zone, can't find nobody open, take off.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Um, I got one that will play off kind of what James was talking about. This is kind of a long shot, but with just defensive players, we're looking at two really good defenses this year, and big playmakers. So my biggest one here is it's kind of a twofold. It would be that. Let me see here. Let me spring into it. Okay, so either QB to catch their own pass. It's wild, Curtin, right? That's sitting at plus 6,000. So I could see a lot of batted down balls. We seen it last week with Lamar Jackson.
Flea flickers.
Hey, it's prop bet season. I'm getting wild out here. So just sit on that one, and then I'm gonna sprinkle a Chris Jones interception sitting there at plus 7,000, and sprinkle a George Karlaftis to get an interception at plus 10,000.
I think these linemen are going to be intercepting some balls, huh?
So
I mean, KC is good at
batting
batting
down balls,
balls.
and Brock Purdy's short. I think a lot of this plays in, and I like taking, sprinkle a little $10 on the plus 10,000 or any of these bets. Nothing crazy. Don't go Seth crazy. Don't throw the house on it, but hey, something to sit on
You
that
throw the house on
till
it.
the end of the game for.
You could have two houses.
Yeah, if you throw the house, you could have two houses, or you could go sell
No
your
houses.
own house. Yeah.
Speaking real quick of batted balls, I'd like to point out, and we're going to clip this. I'm going to make a clip of Brock Purdy in college when the ball was batted and he batted it down to the other team and they ran it back for 6 against Clemson in the bowl game.
He sent me that.
That video is honestly hilarious. So hopefully we get something like that in the Super Bowl.
See, that's the energy I'm talking about right there.
Heck yeah. Well, last night, boys, I like going high when I bet. I was looking through a lot of the game specials and features just because they have tons of odds ranging from 200 up to literally like 20,000 on things that can happen. And my two favorite things that I've seen here, which I honestly think is worth a unit, I sent one of them last night. It was a plus 15,000 for a one touchdown and a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown for each team each half. Now, this one I don't think is as likely as the other one I'm about to say, but I do think this is something, if this game is a scoring game and they're going back and forth, that this is very likely between both of these teams. One that I really like, and I think I'll throw a little bit more money on this one, also does with each half, each team to score one touchdown and one field goal for each half. That is a plus 2,600 at those odds. Regardless of if these are going to be touchdowns, they're going to be able to drive the ball, these teams. And a touchdown and a field goal per half for both of them is, that's not unreasonable for 2,600. So that's something I'll probably be hammering a lot, and that's probably my favorite long shot bet going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I like that bet too, but the only thing that scares me about that one is a Jake Moody missed field
That's
goal.
what I also – that's why I put the other
I
one.
could see it missing by that because I was looking at his odds to miss a field goal. I forget what they were, but you can't parlay that or nothing on FanDuel really. But man, he's been on the struggle bus. Yeah, it's been crazy. But
Rookie in a big game, biggest game of his life.
I mean, I was accustomed to it. He missed one against the Browns this year to tie it. So
another straight for me is Marquez Valdez-Scantling over 19.5 receiving yards. Like I said previously, I think when you're making bets like this, you want to kind of predict how you think the game's going to go, and that's going to help you sway however you're going to bet. And with the Chiefs being down, 20 yards for somebody that iced the game for them last time they played. I don't know. Someone else other than Kelsey is going to have to step up for them, and I feel like for 20 yards, I know he has drop issues, but 20 yards, he should be able to do that. That's basically one catch to him. I don't know. I just feel like there's really good value right there.
And he's been in that stage before. He's not you don't really know how Rashee Rice is going to perform on the big stage, and MVS has been on this stage before with the Chiefs, so we kind of expect him to step up and be that veteran presence.
he had a good Super Bowl last year, didn't he? Last time we played?
I couldn't tell you.
I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but he shows up in these big games like he did last week.
yeah, he's had a good playoffs, and that plays into one of mine. actually. Valdez Scantling to have the longest reception, plus
That-
750.
I like that.
Yeah. I think he would catch a deep ball if we're gonna be talking about it. I mean, it's probably a 30. Like he's had the 45, the 50, that's his zone right there, and I don't see a lot of players besides Ayuk's the odds-on favorite to get it. But outside of that, I think plus 750 is pretty good odds for somebody like Scantlin, is always downfield threat. So
Yeah.
I like that one.
I feel like that's really good value right there.
Not bad.
Seth, you got any more best bets, man? Anything?
I don't got any more best bets, but there is the Madden curse that's been following the Super Bowl the past couple of years. So they play the game in Madden, and they've got it wrong the last 3 years in a row. And this year they had KC beating San Francisco. So take with that what you will.
Wow.
You saying 49ers money line?
Might be.
Also, Seth, to piggyback on what you're saying, the guy who's picked the incorrect Super Bowl winner 16 years in a row has picked the Kansas City Chiefs as well.
Wow.
So, will he make it 17?
It sounded like a hammer, the 49ers money line.
Yeah. James, you kind of talked about it last week. Well, I don't think this was on the pod, but where the line landed at. Do you know what the line's at right now? for Chiefs
Yeah,
Niners?
I can pull it up right now.
It's 1.5.
Because it's 1.5,
No,
Yeah.
it's 2.5.
2.5.
No, it opened at 2, but it's at 1.5. Well, I guess it depends on the book.
For FanDuel right now, it has the 49ers at 2.5-point favorites. Minus 130 on the money line. Chiefs are plus 110 on the money line.
So DraftKings is offering it's actually a -2 49ers at minus 105. So just depending on what book you have, I think there's additional value if you want to
Shop around.
Yeah.
You guys know one player that I'm like almost certain will score a touchdown, and I already said I was gonna throw his first touchdown score down. That's gonna be Deebo Samuel in this game. Not only was he hurt early in the playoffs, he didn't get a touchdown last week. I think in this type of game that McCaffrey 3 touchdowns is not going to happen. I think easily he can maybe get 2, but they're going to have to do some other options. And Deebo Samuel at plus odds of 140 right now, I think that's great value for a touchdown, especially with his running and passing game. I think he's my favorite player to get a touchdown this week for his odds.
Yeah.
I like that.
I actually had a parlay. This was my last bet, so go after me if you want, if you got anything else. But my parlay was McCaffrey anytime, Kelsey anytime, Debo anytime, Scantlin over that 19.5 that Nate was talking about earlier, and Pacheco to get 50-plus yards. That's like plus 1,800. So that's probably what I'll be throwing down. I'm coming out of retirement for the Super Bowl. Just
One
an
last
announcement.
time.
One last time.
Don't
One
sleep
last
on
time,
that.
man.
Don't sleep on the first catch drive, because you're telling me Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, ain't getting the catch for the 49ers first drive, and then you parlay that with Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice. Right there, you got like a plus 600.
For 4 catches for plus 600?
Just catches first drive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Seth made his money.
I feel like that one's a little frisky-disky.
I made 3 off of it during the championship
I know,
weekend.
but they also had 2 different games.
Yeah, but I only made it on 2 games.
You're right.
Actually,
I trust your process, Seth.
I'll go off of what you just said, and this is the last straight that I have. But I believe Kelsey's line right now is set at 7.5 receptions. I usually do never take unders, but I think this is one that's worth looking at. The 49ers have the best linebackers in the league. I don't think anybody will question that, at least the linebacker core. I think they're really going to hone in on trying to stop Kelsey and force Mahomes to pass to other people. So, and I believe in the last Super Bowl, he only had 6 receptions. So I think the market's kind of playing off of
His last
what
week.
he did last game. Yeah. So I don't know. There could be potential value, but if you don't want to fade somebody like that, I understand.
Totally understand that.
Yeah, unless he broke up with Taylor Swift, I ain't fading
Well,
him.
that's another thing we should talk about is Taylor's. If the Chiefs win this game, does Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift?
Shut the hell up. That's dumb as hell. They've been
Yeah, I've
dating
seen
for like
something on
4
Twitter about
months.
I know, bro. I talked about that to my wife, and because I think it was after Kyler sent that, and I was like, "What are the odds?" I mean, she was like, "They should just be higher than that because there ain't no way." Like that's what.
Yeah, how are you gonna predict something like that?
You're right.
Literally.
I know. Yeah.
Unless you know the man personally.
Well, I did lie. I did have one more bet, and that was Travis Kelce to catch every pass at plus 950. Just a fun one. He did it last week. He's done it twice this year. Last week in a regular season game, to catch every pass.
Like every target zone.
But it could fail if Fred Warner gets his big paws on one. You know?
Yeah.
Not happening.
Scares me with a little bit of those linebackers there.
James, you got any bets?
No, I think I kind of said what I really think there's value for a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
Depending on how this game goes, and that's kind of. I'll do some quick bets and stuff like that. Probably throw a parlay in, but there's nothing that's really standing out at me. I think these books kind of snipe in and get right where they want us for this big game because it's the biggest betting day probably of the year.
Yeah.
So these lines are pretty well set. There's nothing that's like, oh, besides that Brock Purdy line.
Yeah, I do like the 12.5.
Like even all the touchdowns, there's like 4 or 5 of them that are all minus money. Like you know, there's.
I mean, that's how I
very
kind of
little
predict this
value.
game going, though. I mean, I do think this is going to be a scoring game, even with the good defenses. Like, both these teams can pass the ball very well, obviously, but I think the rushing game, especially what I would like to see from Kansas City, because I think that Pacheco line for 50 yards or whatever it is, I think that's a hammer. That's something I also really like. What's his actual line set at, or is that what you just put an alternate?
No, that was alternate.
Okay. Well, his line should be around like 60 yards. I think we've seen with Lamar last week, not Lamar, the Ravens, I should say, actually, 6 rushing attempts the whole game, and that game plan completely failed them. So that's something I see the Chiefs, as much as they do throw the ball, both teams are going to be trying to control tempo of this game because I think the winner of tempo wins this game, and that's just what I personally think.
Well, that's a good segue. Let's hop right into it. We're going to do our pick'em. This is our final pick'em. Makes me sad. Almost shed a tear. Our final pick'em. It's been a long year, man, but it's been a fun one. It's been really, really fun. We've been picking these games all year, but it comes down to one and only. So I need a team that's going to win, your Super Bowl MVP, and then I need the score.
So I'll start it off on this one. Every year I would like to see Patrick Mahomes lose, even considering this year. But for betting purposes, I'm going to pick not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we talked about it last week on our podcast. I mean, he solidified himself as one of the greatest quarterbacks. I think if he does this, wins this ring, it's amazing what he's been doing. So I'm just going to go with that, my gut feeling. Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City money line. And I think the score is going to be 34-31. Nate called it best. Harrison Buckner walk-off field goal.
All right, I mean, I'll go. Yeah, I'm looking at our graphic right now that we got posted on Instagram. Check it out. We flip-flopped except for the 5th person, but I'm going with the 49ers. The 49ers, man, I'm going with them. It's going to be a battle. I don't really have a crazy case besides the fact that who runs the ball the best, I think it's the 49ers. He kind of talked about it. The Chiefs have been very good at just realizing their identity this playoff run of we just need to take a step back, play more of a game manager type of role here, and just run the football as well. So it's going to be about who manages the clock right, stuff like that. I think Kyle Shanahan gets him one here. I think it's going to be 27-24 Niners. And then my Super Bowl MVP is Debo.
We all have these scores close, like really close, looking at it.
Yeah, Debo Samuel,
it's
man.
going to be
James
a close game.
I think it's gonna be a close game too. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, I don't want to, but I just think at the end of the day, it's hard to fade Andy Reid and Mahomes, and especially in the Super Bowl. My MVP will be Mahomes strictly because if they win this game, it's more than likely because of his play. And then my final score is Kansas City 27, San Fran 21. But I could also see this being a 3-point game.
Oh, shoot, we lost Seth. No, we lost Seth at the last minute. Maybe his computer died. Well, James, go ahead, and if we get him back, we get him back.
All right. So I got the 49ers winning 34-30. I think McCaffrey kind of gets it done both in the air and on the ground. I have him as my MVP. I think this is the year the 49ers get it done just because they've been knocking at the door, whether it be the NFC Championship. I mean, they've been consistently good for, I feel like, the past 10 years, but they've yet to hoist the Lombardi. Uh, and I think they have everything that they need. Here he is.
I'm about to. Well, I got a plan for Seth.
Okay. But I think the 49ers have all they need to win win the Super Bowl, so that's my pick.
Yeah, so my thoughts on Seth is what we'll do is give him a little social media spotlight. So maybe on TikTok and Instagram, probably a YouTube clip, we'll have him record himself and give his take on his score, his winner and Super Bowl MVP, and give his case on social media. So definitely check that out. Share Seth. Now that we figured out a little Zoom situation, he might be returning more often. So glad to see the boys are all back, man. We're excited for the Super Bowl. Most of us will probably get together and watch it. So I hope you guys enjoy your parties, man, and have fun out there. Don't get too drunk.
For sure.
It was real, y'all. Peace.